Hey foodies, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how I make my crispy fried stuffed pork chops. So let's get started. So for this recipe, you're going to need some pork chops. With these pork chops, the thicker the better. Romano Parmesan cheese, 1 onion, buttermilk, and of course we can't forget the spices that we need to season up these pork chops. I'm going to be using sazon complete seasoning, Cajun style all-purpose seasoning, sriracha salt, Lawrys seasoning salt, ground sage, and paprika. Then I'm going to be using Panko breadcrumbs and flour for the breading. And I'm also going to be using some ricotta cheese. You can always substitute this for cream cheese instead. And lastly, I'm going to be using fresh spinach. Make sure you check the description box for accurate measurements of everything. So first you want to start off by washing and pat and dry your pork chop. And you want to just go ahead and cut that down the center, making sure you do not cut it all the way in half. Like I said before, the thicker the pork chop, the better, because it is a little bit harder to cut the pork chops that are a little bit thinner, but it is possible. You just want to make sure you take your time and go in with your knife at the thickest point and just slide it all the way down until you can open it up like so. All right, so once we're done making our pockets, you want to go ahead and place all the pork chops out because it is time to season them. I'm just going to go ahead and mix those seasonings together, and we are just going to apply that to our pork chops. Once you're done seasoning one side, I'm just going to go ahead and flip that over and do the same thing to the other side. Now, I'm not going to apply the seasoning to the pockets because the stuffing is already going to be seasoned and we do not want our pork chops to be extra salty. So after we apply that seasoning, I'm going to go in with my hands and make sure it is all the way rubbed up in there. Okay, so now I'm going to set my pork chops aside. If you want to, you could place these in the fridge for about 2 hours, but you really don't have to. In the meantime, we're going to get started on making this filling. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to my pan, and we're going to add in those onions, and we are going to let those saute. It should take you no more than 3 minutes to cook these. You just want these to get soft. Now, once these onions start to become transparent like this, you want to go ahead and turn off your stove and add in that spinach. I'm also going to add a half a teaspoon of garlic sea salt and a half a teaspoon of complete seasoning and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And then you just want to go ahead and give that a good mix until that spinach starts to wilt down from the steam. You also want to make sure you mix those seasonings in there well. All right, so once everything is well mixed, I'm going to go ahead and transfer that spinach into a large bowl. And then I'm going to add in the ricotta cheese and the Parmesan cheese. I mentioned earlier in this video, you could substitute the ricotta for cream cheese. Now you just want to go ahead and give that a good mix. I'm also going to add in a half a teaspoon of Cajun style all-purpose seasoning. All right, so once that is well mixed, I'm going to go ahead and stuff these pork chops. And it's super easy. You just take the stuffing and you push it all the way into the pocket, close it up, and I'm going to set it aside and show you how to do it one more time. Now make sure you don't overstuff your pork chops because it will be a mess when we start to fry them. It's okay if the filling is poking out a little bit, but you definitely don't want to overstuff these. Since this is about a cup of flour, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of complete seasoning and I'm going to mix that together because we need to season all layers of our food. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just dip my pork chops in that flour. Make sure it's coated, dip off the excess, submerge it in that buttermilk, and then dip it in the breadcrumbs and make sure it is evenly coated all over. So this is what it should look like when you're finished, and I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. Guys, ignore the fact that it got a little messy. I know my bowls are a little on the small side. It's okay. So I better not hear a comment below about it. So you just want to go ahead and keep repeating those same steps until all your pork chops are evenly coated. And this is going to make for a wonderful crispy pork chop. So once the oil starts to heat up completely, you want to go ahead and add your pork chop to that pan. And you want to cook it for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes on each side. You really just want to make sure the outside is crispy. We are going to be putting these in the oven later. Since we added the buttermilk and the panko breadcrumbs, it's going to cook a lot faster on the outside. But that is okay because we want a crispy pork chop. Make sure you watch these, like do not leave the kitchen at all because they cook really fast. Once you start to see that gold ring around the bottom, Make sure you flip it over right away, even if it's before 3 minutes. Flip it over. All right, so once you're done frying these, you want to go ahead and place these in a baking pan lined with foil. And you want to go ahead and pop that in the oven on 350 for about 30 minutes. So this is what my pork chops look like fresh out the oven. As you can tell, they are super crispy, juicy, and tender. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut in the inside so you guys can see what that filling looks like. These pork chops are so juicy that as I'm cutting it, you could just see that juice oozing out. And the filling is super creamy and delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Let me know what you think about these pork chops in the comment section below. If you guys want to try this recipe, be sure to check that description box. I have the full recipe posted there. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It helps me out a ton. Also, if you guys don't want to miss a recipe from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell as well. I will be posting 2 recipes a week, and I know you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.